Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, this is our first session for the question and answers. So as a preparation there are some written questions. So I will start with already presented written questions, and meanwhile if anyone wish to raise questions or any statements or any topics, you are welcome. There may be some mics, so it will be helpful for the recording. Otherwise, only my answers will be recorded. So, as a help, we kindly ask you to use the mic whenever you are participating to the discussion. The first question, Venerable Bhante, if there is a strong pull of the head back, sometimes to back and forth, how do you suggest to deal with it? Thank you. So, I have to assume the question that this may be in sitting meditation. The person may be focusing the attention to either to in-breath and out-breath or rising and falling. These things I have to assume in order to tackle these questions. If it is wrong, please correct me. So, when it is happening, whenever the mind comes to the body, or when it will come inwardly, you are starting to feel a lot of voluntary and involuntary activities within the body, and more you go deep into, they sometimes appear like accelerating. They take their horse momentum and ultimately start swaying up and down or turning around, and that kind of thing happens. So, only one question the meditator has to ask, whether it is bearable or not. If it is unbearable, of course there may be some bodily reaction due to the body knowledge, and definitely your mind will be distracted from the primary object, or you find difficult to maintain the mindfulness. But whatever may be the strength of the movement up and down, still if you can maintain the mindfulness, still if you can keep the attention face to face with the primary object, so much so you have to go forward. That is how you develop the indifference or equanimity. And while there are some distractions, while there are some secondary objects, you try your best to keep the track with the primary object. You try your best to keep the mindfulness, in other words, keep the track with the primary object. More and more you learn that art, whatever the strength, maybe different sounds or pains or movements like that, or strong thoughts, still you may find, once in a way at least, you can keep the track with the mindfulness, you can go back to the primary object, and meanwhile these strange feelings, strange movements will be there. So if the mindfulness is present before and the after of this strong pull, that means there is nothing wrong, still you have to continue. So that is the way to develop the immunity, the indifference and the tolerance. Slowly you will catch up, and ultimately you will, while you are sitting, you will be prepared. Whatever the thing happens, you try to maintain your balance, your synchronizing with the primary object and the mindfulness, and immunity will be slowly increasing. So therefore, if it is bearable, please go ahead, and often, when and where is possible, just go to the primary object and keep the track with the primary object. So much so, it is helpful for you to develop the resistance and the tolerance. Reverend sir, please explain the what Kshana Sampattiya. Kshana Sampatti is the opportunity. In economy, we have the opportunity cost. Different material have the opportunity cost. So, value is changing. place to place and the opportunity to opportunity. So the cost is opportunity specific. Likewise, the Chana Sampatti, that means as far as you are here and now, or you know the power of now, that we earn this opportunity. Whenever you are thinking about the past or future, that means you are lost to the present moment. Being here, if you are thinking about another place, that you are lost to the present moment. Being here, you are thinking about another person, you are lost. So when and where here now I am, that is the way the three things come in align with. So then the power line is straightened, then the power transmission happen. Whenever they are distorted, the power line is broken, no transmission happen. So that means when and where this opportunity is there, your mind and the body is in communication. When and where it is not aligned, you are a robot. You are something doing, but you do not know. You can't take the responsibility about. Sometimes you may be thinking something, the body is somewhere else. Or you are doing maybe bodily something, but the mind is not really taking the responsibility. So likewise, this like a split personality, the two person or multiple people working, that kind of a notion may happen when and where the opportunities miss, or the Kshana Sampatti. The opportunity is the only term come to my mind for the moment. So therefore, it is a lost. Therefore, when and where given the appreciation or value of the mindfulness, it says, only when you are mindful, in the sense you are here and now, that is the only thought moment you are living. All the other thought moments you are trying to live. You are in dream. So this is a lost. Even if you are to live in this world for 120 years, if you are not living here and now, it is just in a dream. It's a wastage from the point of the Buddha. So therefore he says, only the human being can enlighten into the present moment. No other animal, due to their instinct and other limitations in their evolutionary changes, they can't be present to the present moment. So therefore, their life is, no, they can't think about, or they have no hope regarding enlightenment, even to the enlightening into the present moment. This is possible only in the human mind. So being so, that is your prime duty, your main task is to keep as much as possible in the present moment, in the mindfulness, or be here and now. So that we can say the word meaning of Kshana Sampatti. The Kshana Sampatti is the Sanskrit term. In Pali it is Khana Sampatti. In Sinhala we use both as a mixed language. And I am going to the next question. Venerable Bhante, my left arm starts quivering as soon as my breath settles down. Do this unusual? Do I ignore and concentrate on the breath? So I try to tackle the same question when there's a strong pull of the head back and forth. That is also almost like this. So that means it is not unusual. That kind of a thing, one or the other thing will happen when and where the mind become face to face with the primary object. When the mind become penetrating deep into the inside, there are some involuntary bodily actions happen, just like a sleeping baby. When the baby is in a deep sleep, you can see body is in complete action. It is always smiling, crying, all the things are happening. Still, it's a full rest. So likewise, whenever the mind goes there, this is the way some kind of pent-up energy is going out, and the healing happens. So everything is natural discharging or healing happens. So you are, of course, the owner of the same action. But in meditation invites, or inside meditation invites you to be a passive observer of the same process as if someone else. Instead, you maximize your time, you maximize your alignment with the primary object. That is also not in a very the grasping manner. You have a fair priority to the primary object without any hindrance, without any malice toward this kind of action, then only meditation can lead to more healing of the mind and the body. So therefore don't take it as unusual, but in the meditation it is a given fact. If it is happening due to the meditation, these pulls and quiverings never go unbearable. Always within the capacity of bearability, that indicate this is something meditative, so you have to put up with it. And then slowly you will be indifference in time to come. You will never make worries out of these things. They will be day-to-day normal things. Dear respected Bhante, a question from the Bhikkhunis: what would the best procedure be for us for the Ovada and Upasampada day? Thank you with respect and metta. In Nissarana, we just go by the national situation. We never recognize it. So therefore, this question came before us when the Mahayana monks are coming here. They are higher ordained. When they come here, we say, we don't recognize your high ordination. And even the bhikkhunis also, we are in the same process. Therefore, we in our Ovada Patimukha, we says, bhikkhuni Ovada, idanipanatasan natitaya socho Ovado idanati. There are no bhikkhuni, therefore there is no Ovada. So otherwise, this will be another case. The Nissarana will find difficult to conduct retreats. So therefore, don't try to make it a case here. Just consider here as a meditator, and we can't, from the Nissarana point of view, we can't give the status of a bhikkhuni. We are not going to recognize. For that, I personally apologize, but this is the whole notion. From the Sanstava or from our Nikaya, they are not recognizing. So therefore, I am not in a position to go forward and to do something different. So this one, we recently discussed among the monks also. They are not in a position to reconsider. So this is our stand. Venerable Sir, sometimes when my mindfulness gathers some momentum, it is very difficult for me to balance my awareness. I am repeating the question. Sometimes when my mindfulness gathers some momentum, it is very difficult for me to balance my awareness. The inward pull is quite intense and a little difficult to manage. Please give some advice. If I gather the question, you are losing your ego, you are losing yourself, and the self is fighting to regain the ground. So therefore, let the mindfulness to run the show. Don't fork fingers. If the mindfulness is there, as far as mind is going to the more deeper and deeper, you are losing your conceit, you are losing your desire, losing your egocentric idea. So it appears like something abnormal. It appears like you are losing. So, but for that you must have kind of a generosity to do the noble quest. Let the mindfulness to take the upper hand and sacrifice yourself. Let whatever it happens, so you have to be bold to go forward. When such a suction, when such a pull is there, consider it as a meditative force, and that is disintegration yourself, and you must go prepared. If the one thing it happened next day, you must go prepared. That is the way your view must be. But to make sure that you are not in the wrong track, on the wrong direction, you must make sure the continuity of the mindfulness from the normal sensuous feelings, that means starting point to this pulling point, throughout the mindfulness is consistent. So much so, there won't be much of any danger. Venerable Sir, please explain how to do walking meditation correctly. So it is just walking. you will know how to walk. That's it. Walk up and down. Don't make it a game. Don't make it a regimentation. Don't make it a tense. Just walk up and down just to familiarize the ground. You're walking barefoot on the ground. That's it. And then be aware, now I am walking. And whatever the information coming, I gave a guideline or hint, the touch of the soul. So if you are aware that I am just walking on the ground, try to be awakened to the very experience here, now I am walking. Maybe it is the touch of the ground, maybe it is your wind movements or your robotic movements, or it's forceful walking or effortless walking, whatever it may be. That's it. Don't make it a big meditation. It's a kind of a release from the tension arising from the sitting meditation. So therefore walking is a very relaxing thing, and alternative to sitting and while walking without making any speed adjustments or the steering, just normal speed, and try to be simple as walking, the walking as it is, and experience it. Be aware, you are not going to somewhere, it is just for the sake of walking. Walking for the sake of walking. Other times you have a task to go someplace and within some time, but there's no tension. And then try to experience, here, now I am walking. And if you can communicate, how do you feel it, then that will be a very good guideline to go for more mindfulness and more for the concentration. But at the beginning is how to give a very normal, natural, straightforward, familiar kind of walking. So without much of regimentation, I may sometimes take it up in the Dhamma talks, to give more detail according to the circumstances. Dear Venerable Sir, my biggest interest is inner chatter. I can ignore noise, smells, etc. Even with perseverance, thinking, imagining are very difficult hindrances. Can you please advise? Much merit to you. Don't make it as a hindrance. You just give the comfortable sitting and let the mind to be inwardly. That means not looking something external, not listening something outwardly, not smelling something outwardly, not tasting something, not using any equipments to have any touch, and then let the mind to be happy, sitting in a balanced way and relaxed way. And don't consider it as a hindrance. You have to make sure each time you try to be inwardly, if the imagining, daydreaming, fantasizing happens, this is your personality trait. You are a thinker. So there are no other machine to understand that you are a thinker, but you are not a person complaining pains, person complaining sounds. So therefore, as far as you are going to get rid of that, so much so, it is proliferating. Proliferation happens. So therefore, just try to be friendly with it. When the thinking happens, just let it happen. And if the thoughts, if you are familiarizing, now I am thinking, never mind, don't try to pull it off, push it off, or don't try to jump into the primary object, because it is quite unusual. So while thinking, just see whether thoughts are mainly associating the past or future. And the Buddha says, whenever the thoughts are associating the past, always you are regretting. Whenever the thoughts are associated with the future, always excitements happen. So it is the truth. There's a kind of a universal truth. There's a kind of the law. Past association leading to the regret. Future projections are leading to excitements. And sometimes our thoughts are more with the desirable thing, and then the desire can arise. Sometimes it is with the hateful thing, and the hatred can happen. Sometimes too much of an energetic And then your excitement happens, sweating and all the kind of thing. Sometimes thoughts are leading you for sloth and torpor, the sleepiness. So therefore, in Samatha meditation, the Buddha has recognized or categorized 6 kind of thoughts. Past thought, future thoughts, desirable thought, undesirable thoughts, the slimy and the sloth and torpor, or excitement. So what you have to do is, when you go to meditation, bring 6 empty bags, collect each and every thought into one single bag and fill and see which bag is more filled. So that means you are categorizing specifically, you are a thinker of the past and end up with the regret. Other person will say, I am a thinker, but I am thinking of the future and excitement is the end result. Or sometimes the desire, sometimes the hate, sometimes sleepiness, sometimes excitement. So you are learning, who am I? So there is no other machine to understand who am I. Only the hindrances indicate you. So therefore hindrances is not totally bad. There are some good points to pick it up. And therefore that this particular person is telling my biggest hindrance is inner chatter. And whoever going to meditate, they have to face this. The thinking happens. So therefore, many are under impression. There are some other people, they are completely free from thinking. They can do meditation mindfully, calmly and concentrated way, that I am the only person with thinking. But each and everyone are having this kind of a thing. So therefore, this is the first and foremost discovery in the meditation. If you are going to reject it, no meditation. You have to accept it. And then only you can go forward. And you will really, this particular person will really appreciate the comparison between the sitting meditation and the walking meditation with respect to thinking. In the walking meditation, very little thinking for this kind of character. So therefore you have to promote walking meditation, so much so, the body and the speed and the walking meditation is well harmonized. You can, comparatively you can see less thoughts and you can feel the touch of the leg, touch of the soul, and it has a high value, high appreciation, because at the sitting you are at lost. But now you have the personal contact with the touch. So that gives kind of a consistency, more chances for the mindfulness to be face-to-face it. And then when that kind of a good mood, good vibration happens, usually it takes 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes more than that. And then with the same mood you have to go and sit. Sit very comfortably and let the mind to understand, here, now, I am sitting. If the thoughts happen, you welcome it. I am not promoting it. You say, yes, well and good. You come and go. Who cares? Or otherwise, at the maximum, you select what kind of thoughts are there. And that is the way you understand it. And don't think it is an endless game. After a while, the moment you develop the familiarity or lack of fear towards the thoughts or lack of hate towards the thoughts, you will understand there are some thoughts, what we call thought without a thinker. Ultimately, you will understand, the moment you accept the thoughts, 99% of our thoughts are without a thinker. It's just mental proliferation. And if you are going to worry that I am a thinker, I am always thinking past and the regret and kind of thing, there won't be any peace of mind. Because this is not happening with intention. So Buddha, giving a release, he says, whatever thing happen without an intention, you are not involved, you are not committed. It is not going to have any bad effects. They are casual events. And your master is to worry about these unwanted things. The moment you understand the thought without a thinker, you will see so much in the life, so much in the samsara, we were always worrying about these casual things. So ultimately, you will next time when you go to the sitting, you will make sure that am I going to sit and think? Or when I go and sit and do meditation, just the thinking happen as a gate crasher, just coming. So under such circumstances, best thing is not to worry. So therefore you must have a kind of a positive way, or in a sense, the constructive way to look at the thoughts. And this is not the only nuisance. Many things happen. Anything happen, you have to understand they are coming for a message. If you are going to refuse, you are losing the message. So let the thoughts come and give the message. Consider it as a messenger rather than nuisance. So then you will find what is the best time to sit, and what is the best mood, what is the best the posture, whereby you can have more touch, more direct touch with the primary object. And that is why you have to learn your own ways and means to go for this mindfulness. So knowing the hindrance, because hindrance as chatter itself is a product of mindfulness. Because no other one can help you. You have to understand it, but don't try to develop the negative feeling or hatred toward the thoughts. Then it will be a raw material for you to take it as sometimes as a object of meditation also. Venerable Sir, am I correct in understanding that it is the second factor of enlightenment that gives rise to Maggapala of the 7 factors of enlightenment? Am I correct in understanding that it is the second factor of enlightenment that gives rise to Maggapala of the 7 factors of enlightenment? Samma Sati, the Sati Sambojjhanga, Dhammajiva Sambojjhanga. As far as the 7 factors of enlightenment are concerned, very first one is the mindfulness as a factor of enlightenment. Second is that Dhammajiva, the inquiring mind, inquisitive mind, as a factor of enlightenment. So this question is a question asking this inquiring mind, that the inquisitive mind gives rise to Maggapala. So this is a mistake. Many things, there's a single factor for this effect. But very clearly, the Buddha has mentioned, never in this world an effect will arise due to single factor. Always, effect will happen due to multiple factors. And categorically, single factor won't give single effect. Many factors, causative factors, won't give single effect. So always, multiple factors of causes produce multiple factors, multiple facets, the effects. Our education system is linear. So therefore, we can't think in this three-dimensional way. So therefore, we always try to find a single factor. And then we think we found it. Of course, partially yes. But this is due to this the linear thinking. We try to isolate one particular factor, one particular causative factor or proximate cause, and then you think you get the whole picture. But this is the only way we have in the education to go for linear method. But this is to give the introduction, and while keep practicing only, you will understand multiple factors are gives rise to multiple effects. So therefore, this is kind of a fairly a misunderstanding. Dear Venerable Sir, thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and thank you, Bhikkhunis, for being here with us, and examples you set, much metta. It has been said by the Buddha that there are some missing words, but the message is clear. It has been said by the Buddha that those keeping precepts, meditating, etc., may take 7 days, 7 months or 7 years to reach enlightenment. Why 7? What is the factor that attach the length of time? Thank you. This is not only here, the other places also, there are some round figures. This is of course not a round figure, but the Buddha has traveled from this place to other place with the 1,200 bhikkhus and so much of miles and kind of thing. So very difficult to go by figures, and it won't give that much of a deep sense. But take 7 as a unit. It may be 7 days, 7 months or 7 years. That is the way it has been mentioned. But the figure, the enumeration of 7, I don't think it has a kind of a significance. So when the message is carrying 2,600 years and or more, this is the way repetitive recitation keep the memory hard and fast. So therefore 7 days, 7 months, 7 years, like it is going more than that. For me, it is no much of a value, specific value of the number 7 or lucky 7 or something like that. The next question is in singular. I don't know whether it is justifiable to go into that, but anyway, I will just read it. Sakman bhavana karna vita nirayasayema das pive. Me ayasayem walakwa gata yutuda. Sakman maluwa kelawarathi me prashnayak wana bawa danime. Sakman bhavana පිළිබඳව ලියනකොට ලොකු ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ මතක් කරලම තිබ්බා මෙහෙම දෙයක් වෙනවා නමුත් අස්පියා ගන්න යන්න එපයි කියලා පුළුවන් තරම් අවදියෙම තියාගෙන ඉන්නේ කියලා. ඒක මේ ආරසාවටයි ඒ වගේම සතිය අවදි භාවයටයි දෙකටම උදව් වෙනවා. රූප වේදනා සංඥා සංකාර විඥාන පංච උපාදාන ස්කන්ධයන් විවේක ගැනීම නිර්වාණයේද ආනපන සතිය තුළින් රූප වේදනා සංඥා හරහා විවේකයේ උපයා ගන්නා අයුරුද දන්න නමුත් සංඛාරා විඥානයේ තුලින් විවේක ලබා ගන්න අය පොඳනිමි මේ තාදුටත් පැහැදිලි කර දැක්වීම දැන ගැනීමට කැමැත්තෙමි. අපි මේ ටික සමාජලට බොහෝ විට ධර්ම දේශනාවේදී සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. ඒක නිසා මේ වෙලාවේදී අමාරුයි ඒ වගේ ලොකු අදහසක් අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයකට උත්තරයක් වශයෙන් විතරක් දෙන්න. ඒ නිසා ඒකට පොඩ්ඩක් ඉවසන්න ධර්ම දේශනා කරගෙන යනකොට අපි බලමු රූප වේදනා සංඥා හරහා සංස්කාර විඥානවලත් විස්රාමයක් විවේකයක් කොහොමද ගන්නේ කියලා. If I am to translate the question, the first part of the question into English, it says that when the meditation, specifically the walking meditation, when it's happening, there's a feeling like closing the eyes. So should one forcefully avoid it and keep the eyes open? Specifically, this is a question when you are coming to the end, the turning point. That is the question. So, general instruction is to keep eyes open, because otherwise that you may start swaying and meditation may go beyond control due to the uncontrollability of the body. So therefore, generally it says that you have to keep eyes open. And when you are turning around also, keeping eyes open help you to maintain the mindfulness amidst of complicated activities while seeing and hearing and all the kind of thing. So if it is so, you may note it turning, but still the eyes must be open, kept open. So these are the questions written and presented so far. So if any further clarification or any other unclear things or any new questions available, you all are welcome.
Venerable Sir, you used an interesting phrase. I wonder whether you can elaborate on it. You referred to the thinking without the thinker.
Thought without a thinker.
I'm sorry, thought without the thinker.
So I can give the book by Mark Epstein, very nice book, Thought Without the Thinker. He has borrowed the name from another person, but he has done mindfulness at the beginning and then he's learned the Western psychiatry. And now he explained the non-self character through this thinking pattern. They are just proliferating. No agenda, no doer. And it is happening, you are the only person worrying about, so you are worrying. The day you understand these all thoughts are no theme, no agenda, no thinker, and just like clouds passing, clouds can't smear the sky, clouds can't disturb the sky. They are just passing, you can't name it, you can't have the shape of it. They are always changing. You have to lie down and just observe the passing clouds. So I have, I think, 2 copies. Because I'm really appreciating that the way he is presenting, Mark Epstein, and present is a very popular kind of writer. He has written many going to pieces without falling apart. And so this kind of topics, it's a really explaining, really sharing the mindfulness, experience of mindfulness in the Western terminologies. And it's very nice for a person like me from the Asiatic education to see how they are explaining it. And it's a very energetic, very crispy when he's explaining it. So thought without the thinker is a very... And of course his explanation and everything based on the Tibetan Buddhism. But anyway, the mindfulness is the core issue. So therefore it is very interesting.
These thoughts, can that be in any way related to your past experiences? It could be something wholesome or unwholesome, to your greed or to your hatred or ignorance, rather than saying it just comes by itself.
So if you are going to find, or if you are going to attribute to the past and future or relation, that you are going to create a notion of self. His whole effort is to break the self and say they are just coincidence. Just passing clouds. And if there are any essential thing, it will come and strike you. Till that, reject it. This is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. So he has dealt only with the thoughts, but the Buddha, he says that all the physicality, stiff tension movements, everything happened the first and few questions, they also consider as not me, not mine, not myself. Any feeling arises, as far as it is bearable and under your control, disclaim it, deconstruct it. As far as the perception happens, this is good, this is bad, this may be past, or this may be future, or this may be relevant, all this come out of the perception. Whole package, you take it as this is not me, not mine, not myself. And you feel like construction, you feel like creativity. How can I make use these thoughts for natural selection or new creativity and make use of for something or project? Consider this is not me, not mine, not myself. And even in the thoughts, the good and the bad, auspicious and unauspicious, just and unjust, all these are the function of the mind, the consciousness. So more and more you're going to see the value of the good and the bad and kind of thing. You are promoting the mind or promoting the consciousness, and that is also ultimately end up with self-notion. So therefore disclaiming. So it's a revolution. It is going against the grain, like it's like of a radical way. But for my personal experience, this kind of a radical consideration you can go once you mastered your physicality, the Kayanupassana. Once you go Kayanupassana, that means you understand how the breathing takes place, what is the beginning, the middle and the breathing, and what is the cessation of the breath and kind of thing. Then you become qualified to look at the everything as nothing but the mind made. Everything is their own word, just the mind. At that level you can see even the perception of physicality, the feelings, perception by itself, or mental creativity or fabrications or this discrimination, All this, you just for the sake of experiment, you disclaim it. You deconstruct them. And see from where this all kind of sorting it out, good and the bad, me and non-me, past and the future, where coming from. All from the three roots, tanha, mana, ditti, the desire, the conceit and the self. When the disclaiming happens, you will come back, you take this particular issue out of the whole gamut because your own desire, because your own conceit, because it is relevant to yourself. So you understand 1,000 and things are there, you pick only one due to either desire or conceit or still below the self. So therefore it's a kind of a radical way of reflection. Thought without the thinker. And the lot of bodily activities are there. Asampajana kaya sankhara, asampajana mano sankhara, asampajana vachi sankhara. That means that as far as this the existence happen, the body has to have its own exercises. Whether you know it know or not. That's why when the concentration happens, sometimes jerks happen, movements happen, kind of thing. So they are not happening with the will. They are not happening due to volition. But you are a total observer. You can observe it. Things are happening. The maximum you can do is you can be a passive observer. Don't go beyond that. If you are to go beyond that, you have to commit yourself as a good or bad, me or non-me, all the kind. So this commitment is the only thing you are getting hooked up with. So that is the point, you have to restrain yourself, just observe as a neutral observer and disclaim any further engagement, any further commitment. Once you committed only, it becomes a karmic process or cause and effect relationship. Otherwise, if you can observe, in the poetic way it says that even though you see, you have to behave like a blind. Even you hear, you have to behave like a deaf. No reaction, unassuming, choicelessly, be aware. So that is the way that you can keep the stream of consciousness free of all these shocks. At least in the experimental basis, and more you develop the skills, ways and means, slowly you see more and more you disclaim, more and more you away from the frustration, mental tension, and things are happening, but you are not make a point to be tensed for regimentation. The phenomena dissolves without giving a kind of friction.
Venerable Bhante, just following on from the question that someone had put on the second factor of enlightenment, I appreciate that you need all factors of enlightenment to play together at that point of fruition, but wouldn't it be Dhammavichaya Sambojjhanga that is at the forefront of wisdom arising?
That is the kind of approach from the wisdom point of view. But this is not the only way for the enlightenment. From the faith point of view, there are some characters going from the faith. For them, this Dhammavichaya is, they can't digest it. That is none of their business. But still they have energy to continue again and again and again out of faith. For them, the virya or piety, that kind of become a very energetic and positive, but the scrutiny, the investigation, they are not specialized. So therefore people, those who are looking at the whole business through this Dhammavichaya, for them Dhammavichaya is very high, very big, very prominent. That is way the person is looking at. But this is not the only way, there's no single way, there are many. Some people go with the energy, some people go with the wisdom, the concentration, some with the faith, some with the wisdom. For them, their significance of the enlightenment factors, they explain differently. So that is why one day, during the time of the Buddha, all the big shots like Venerable Maha Sariputta, Maha Moggallana, Kassapa, Nanda, Rahula, they explain that we are living in just under this moon. The forest is so beautiful, and they are asking each other, why that natural forest under the moon so beautiful? So Venerable Sariputta says, due to the knowledge of Dhamma, this is beautiful. Venerable Moggallana says, no, the people have magical powers, so for them it is beautiful. Venerable Kassapa is telling, people have the austere practices, that is why they are beautiful. They are showing their own individual specialization, that is why the moon is so bright. And ultimately everyone go to the Buddha, and Buddha says, that is the way you are looking at the world, everyone is correct. They have their own specialization. For them, some part more addressing than the others. So likewise the Dhammajiva is, that become Mīmaṁsa. There are 4 achievements, 4 ways to achievement. Iddhipada, Chanda, Virya, Chitta, Mīmaṁsa. Mīmaṁsa is that is inquiring mind. For that kind of people, Dhammajiva Sambojjhanga is very significant, very addressing, very dramatic. But Chanda, for the faith kind, Virya is for the energetic, Chitta is the determination power. So these people have individual taste or enlightenment factors. So the Buddha is going to give a universal kind of a combination.
Venerable Bhante, when you're answering a question, you mentioned that if we do that, we encourage consciousness. So the swimming upstream, is that a process of discouraging consciousness?
I think the encouragement, discouragement is not the good, maybe the best terms. You have to choicelessly be aware of the consciousness. Not encouraging, not discouraging. Just let the consciousness to play by itself without your commitment to enhance it or hindrance it. So that is how you can let it happen. But to the consciousness to have a pure play, consciousness to have this free lance dancing, the Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara has to be ceased. If the materiality is going to play a bigger chance, consciousness is hiding behind. If the feelings are going to play a big role, still the consciousness take upper hand and it will be a hiding. And perception and volitional or fabrication. So you have to slowly remove one by one. Specifically in the Cetana Sutta, the Buddha says, even if you manage to calm down your primary object and go to the place where there is no materiality disturbing you, your mind is very peaceful, calm and quiet. Even the breath is unperceivable. But even then the Buddha says, Yancha cheteti, yancha pakappeti, yancha anuseti, arammana metang hoti viññānasa. Whatever the volition, whatever your proliferation, whatever your undermining hindrance, the anusaya, that means that each and everyone, the consciousness is going to take the upper hand. When the materiality is calmed down, the balance everything, consciousness is making the mean advantages. So you have to do away with volition, do away with the will. And then you have to do away with pakappana, that means fabrication, mental fabrication. And then you have to expose yourself and be aware of this, the undermining tendencies. And that also, you must not fertilize it, and then only you can isolate the consciousness. It is very difficult. It has to be, you must not, manipulating anything. Then the consciousness, it knows how to take the mean advantage of it. Best thing is to calm them down and let the consciousness to come and play. Then only you will see it is always searching for duality. Good, bad, just, unjust. So whenever the duality happens, the consciousness take the mean advantage of it. So you have to observe the play. How these politicians, the split and divide method. That's what the English people try to do. Split and rule. Exactly the Vijnana, not the English people. That is the Vijnana. Whenever you split it, you take the mean advantage. You are upper hand. So Vijnana is so magician, always some or the other try to give the just, unjust, black, white, correct, incorrect. So without that you can't think. That is their language. The duality is the language. But whenever you are calming down the materiality, feelings, perception kind of thing, you come to the unity, the indiscriminate, wholesome, the holistic idea, no duality, then Vijnana feels quite uncomfortable. Vijnana feels where to hook, where to find the edge. No edge. So that is the point. You can see the duality come together, negative, positive charges come and get discharged, neutralized, and that is the point. And main thing you will complain is very boring, very monotonous. It's a very lethargic, eventless. That is the way the Vijnana is pulling you down. Whenever there's a fight, when there's a kind of arrogance, the Vijnana is taking the upper hand. So you can't encourage it, you can't discourage it. Whatever it may be, it takes the mean advantage for just as a fertilizer. So you have to just non-feeding, without giving any food, let it play. And then you can see the thought without a thinker. And all the other kind of thing, they are happening in a habitual way, without any volitional contribution, without your will. But even then, our mind is always try to take the responsibility of its consequences. Then you are hooked up. So only thing you can do is don't do consciously, don't do volitionally, don't do with will, and even then don't expect the phenomena to stop it. Observe the phenomena just like a thought without a thinker, and main thing is not to worry. Main thing is not to worry. It is like a tightrope walking without falling into the side. Still you can walk. So that is what the miracle, that is what we call the noble quest. Okay, if there are no more questions, we can take time for walking meditation. And according to the timetable, at 4 o'clock, we will be meeting again here for the first Dhamma talk.